Alright folks, welcome back to the show. This is Chukwuka here, old army vet, son of Nigerian immigrants, bit of an odd mix of accents, and a whole lot of America first in my bloodstream. Today we're diving into something that is already changing war, artificial intelligence on the battlefield, from autonomous drones to those decision support systems that crunch data faster than any staff sergeant with a map and a highlighter. With me, as always, my battle buddies and sparring partners. We've got Major Ethan Sentinel Graves, strategist, cop, chess nerd, all-around dangerous brain. We've got Duke Johnson, 20 years, 4 deployments, straight-shooting MAGA patriot. And we've got Olga Ivanova, our resident progressive journalist and human rights hawk, who thinks I'm wrong at least 50% of the time, and tells me about it 100% of the time.
Only 50%? You're getting off easy. Hi everyone, Olga here. I cover conflict zones and human rights, and this topic is, honestly, unsettling. AI changing life or death decisions in war means humans and civilians can become data points in a system they don't understand.
Sentinel here. Look, I've sat in TOCs staring at screens trying to fuse intel, drone feeds, radio chatter. Even with a good staff, you miss things. AI that can flag patterns, predict ambush routes, or prioritize threats in seconds, that could save a lot of lives and it's a big if it's done right.
Yeah, Duke on deck. Bottom line up front. If I'd had smart drones and AI battle boards in my first combat zone, some of my guys might still be here. I'm not romantic about doing things the old school way when the old school way gets people killed.
Let me put it this way. Back in my day, planning a convoy meant a map, some intel brief, maybe a grainy UAV feed if you were lucky, and a lot of gut. Today, you could have an AI system chewing through years of IED data, traffic patterns, even weather, and saying, hey, don't take Route Irish, take this side route. Probability of contact drops by 30%. That's massive.
And not just routing. Think about counter-drone swarms, automated target recognition, systems that tell a squad leader that heat signature is likely a civilian, not a combatant. Friendly fire could go down if the algorithms are tuned carefully.
Or it could go the other way. If the training data is bad, biased, or incomplete, the system could mislabel civilians as combatants. We've already seen simple automation errors in other fields cause harm. Now scale that up to missiles and drones, and you have amplified mistakes with no one clearly accountable.
Yeah, but Olga, humans screw up plenty. I've watched tired lieutenants misread grids and put steel on the wrong compound. At least with AI, you can, in theory, audit the logic. With Private Snuffy, all you get is, I thought it was the right building, sir.
Accountability is the choke point. If a commander signs off on using an AI tool, but the tool weights one variable wrong and a hospital gets hit, who owns that? The coder, the contractor, the colonel? On the tactical level, speed is a blessing, but speed plus confusion about responsibility is dangerous.
That's the thing. MAGA conservative or not, I'm old school about command responsibility. You don't outsource your moral burden to a black box. Decision support should support the human, not replace the human. Once troops start saying, the system told me, that's a slippery road.
And that's already how a lot of systems creep into everyday life. The algorithm decided. If a commander under pressure trusts the machine over their own doubts, that's not just speed, that's shifting who is morally present in the moment of killing. The people at the other end, often civilians in fragile societies, become abstractions.
I hear you, but war is already brutal. If an autonomous drone spots a mortar team faster than I can and smokes them before they drop rounds on my platoon, I'm going to say yes every time. The enemy's not out there worrying about our ethics flowchart.
It's a trade. Speed, precision, fewer blue-on-blue versus the risk of large-scale, fast errors and a fog of who pulled the trigger. We can't pretend it's one-sided. Tactical AI is a force multiplier. It can multiply wisdom or multiply stupidity, depending on how we frame the rules and the culture around it.
So that frames our battlefield question. Do these tools keep our people safer without turning the act of killing into just another software update? Hold that thought, because this jumps straight into a bigger game, the AI arms race. All right, Sentinel, put on your strategist hat. We keep hearing this phrase, AI arms race. Break down who's sprinting and who's jogging here.
So, big picture, you've got the U.S. investing heavily across the Pentagon ecosystem, with defense research outfits like DARPA pushing AI for everything from logistics optimization to autonomous systems. Parallel to that, China's got an aggressive state-driven AI roadmap where military, commercial, and surveillance tech all feed into one vision. Then you've got NATO trying to coordinate allies on defense tech so they're interoperable, not 12 different systems duct taped together.
We're in a race whether we like it or not. The Chinese Communist Party's not waiting for a UN ethics panel. If they field smarter targeting or faster command systems, that's combat power, full stop.
But describing it as a race can become self-fulfilling. If every side says, we can't slow down for ethics because the other guy won't, you get a spiral. And for people on the ground, in border regions, in contested cities, bytes win wars can also mean bytes decide whose neighborhood becomes a testing ground.
Still, historically, game changers like nuclear weapons shifted strategy precisely because of that race dynamic. Deterrence became about who could signal capability and control. With AI, it's not just who has the biggest bomb. It's who has the smartest networks, the best data pipelines, the fastest decision loops. You could almost say the new strategic high ground is compute power and algorithms.
Yeah, nukes were about megatons. This is about megabytes. I don't know if bytes win wars alone, but they sure tilt the field. Thing is, unlike nukes, this tech moves fast and trickles down. What's cutting edge for the US today might be on some malicious laptop in a few years.
Exactly. You roll out some fancy AI targeting, the enemy studies it, adapts, spoofs the sensors, feeds it fake data. It's cat and mouse on turbo. Advantage windows shrink from decades to, months? Maybe less.
And if your policy, doctrine, and training cycles move on a 5-year rhythm while the tech flips every 6 months, you're in trouble. Leaders end up using tools they don't fully understand under rules that weren't written for the current reality.
And the incentives can be ugly. Politicians might love showcasing AI superiority, shiny demos, look how advanced we are, without grappling with what happens when those systems fail in some small village that will never make the headlines. The power shift isn't just US versus China, it's tech elites versus everyone living with the consequences.
From a MAGA angle, I want America on top, no apology. But if leadership can't keep pace, if Congress doesn't understand what it's funding, if commanders don't get how these systems really behave, then we've got more AI than you, doesn't mean we win. It might mean we just break things faster.
Yeah, if your OODA loop is fast but stupid, you just get bad decisions quicker. We need policymakers who can spell algorithm without help before they sign off on integrating it into nuclear command and control or whatever's next.
And don't forget allies. If NATO partners can't plug into US AI tools, or if they're wary about data sharing, then coalition warfare gets harder. Strategic advantage isn't just one country's software. It's the whole network's ability to coordinate under pressure.
There's also the question of norms. With nuclear weapons, there were at least attempts at treaties, hotlines, crisis communications. With AI, if we race without even minimal guardrails, we risk normalizing automated escalation, systems nudging leaders toward action before they fully process the human cost. I know that sounds dramatic, but people in war zones already feel like collateral in someone else's tech experiment.
So the clock's ticking, the tech's sprinting, and the policy's limping. If we don't get our act together, we're not just talking about what happens over there. This stuff has a way of coming home, into policing, borders, everyday life, which is where Olga's red flags really start waving.
Yeah, because battlefield tools don't stay on the battlefield. We already see governments talking about smart borders, using AI to scan faces, predict risky travelers, and sort people before they even arrive. Similar systems get pitched for predictive policing, trying to forecast crime hotspots or high-risk individuals, and at scale, that becomes population-level tracking. Human rights groups are warning that this logic turns entire communities into suspects by default.
Look, I'm all for civil liberties, but if I can stop a cartel mule or a terrorist at the border with better tech, I'm not crying about the camera doing extra work. We already use Intel. This is just more advanced Intel.
Except Intel usually has humans cross-checking sources, context, intent. AI surveillance can run constantly, quietly, everywhere. People don't know when they're being scored, labeled, or flagged. And we know from rights reports that marginalized groups tend to bear the brunt when systems misfire.
From a policing standpoint, I get the appeal. A system that highlights patterns of violence or suggests where to deploy units sounds efficient. But if the underlying data reflects old biases, the AI just automates them. Then officers say, "The system sent us here," and the feedback loop keeps targeting the same neighborhoods.
This is where that phrase human in the loop gets thrown around. On paper you say, don't worry, a person still makes the final call. But if the human is tired, under pressure, and the machine spits out a red alert, are they really in charge? Or are they just rubber stamping the output?
Exactly. Real oversight means being able to question and override the system, not just click accept. On the battlefield, in real time, I get that you can't run a committee meeting every time you need to make a call. But if we normalize opaque AI decisions in war, it becomes easier to normalize them in city streets, detention centers, and protest zones.
There's always a trade. You want zero risk, you lock everything down. You want zero surveillance, you accept more threats slipping through. I just don't want us so scared of creep that we handcuff people trying to keep the country safe.
I think the key is layers. Clear rules for when AI can act autonomously in combat. Strong after-action reviews to catch failures, and totally different, much stricter standards for domestic use. Same tech, different context, different guardrails.
And maybe a cultural rule of thumb. If you wouldn't accept a tool watching your own family 24/7, maybe don't normalize it for entire communities just because the label says security. We control the tools, or the tools slowly define what normal looks like for us.
My takeaway is simple. People who are already vulnerable, refugees at borders, minorities in over-policed areas, civilians in conflict zones, usually don't get to opt out of these experiments. If we push AI deeper into war and security, we need to center their rights and dignity, not treat them as acceptable error margins.
From my side, AI is here. On battlefields, it can reduce chaos if we keep humans meaningfully in the loop and build real accountability into every deployment. Strategy isn't just winning faster, it's making sure what we build doesn't outgrow our ability to govern it.
For me, it's about owning the gear, not letting the gear own you. Use AI to protect our people, keep America ahead, but draw bright lines. If some system starts driving decisions instead of supporting them, that's a no-go. Hard stop.
I'll wrap it like this. Tools don't have morals, people do. Whether it's a rifle, a drone, or a black box algorithm, the question is always who's accountable when things go sideways. Are we steering this AI revolution in war and security, or are we just along for the ride because it's convenient and fast? We're not going to settle that in one episode, and that's fine. We'll keep coming back to it as this stuff evolves.
Thanks for the debate, guys, and to everyone listening, stay curious and stay critical, especially when someone tells you a machine knows best.
Good talk, team. Always a pleasure to get into the weeds with you all. Until next time.
Roger that. Duke out. Take care of yourselves and your squads out there.
All right, my people, that's it for today. This is Chukwuka signing off. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. We'll catch you on the next one.